What if the biggest WWE story right now isn't happening inside the ring? What if it's happening in the boardroom? Because while fans have been focused on Gunther, Nick Aldis, Cody Rhodes, and CM Punk, a completely different power struggle may be unfolding behind the scenes. And if this theory turns out to be true, SmackDown could be on the verge of its biggest leadership shakeup in years. The reason this story has exploded is simple. SmackDown has a vacancy. Nick Aldis has been taken out of the picture. Adam Pearce has stepped in as acting general manager. But let's be honest, nobody believes that's the long-term solution. Pearce is already managing Raw. Asking him to permanently run both brands feels more like a temporary patch than a real answer. And in WWE, temporary solutions usually exist for one reason. They're buying time for something bigger. That's where things get interesting. Because according to reports and ongoing story developments, WWE appears to be moving toward a major showdown involving Gunther and Nick Aldis. If Aldis returns as an active competitor, he can't simultaneously function as SmackDown's authority figure. That leaves one very important question. Who takes the chair? At first glance, most fans would assume WWE simply appoints another executive, another official, or another familiar authority figure. But then you start looking at the pieces on the board, and suddenly a much bigger possibility appears. The Rock. Now think about what makes this theory so fascinating. The Rock isn't just a WWE legend. He's part of TKO's leadership structure. He's one of the most influential names connected to WWE today. When The Rock speaks, people listen. When The Rock gets involved, stories instantly become larger. And when power becomes part of the storyline, WWE has historically leaned into it in a massive way. That's why some fans believe the current SmackDown situation isn't random at all. It could be preparation. Preparation for someone with real authority to step into the spotlight. Before we go further, if you are enjoying this breakdown, smash that like button and hit subscribe. It genuinely helps the channel grow and keeps these videos coming. Now, back to the story. Here's where the theory becomes even stronger. The Rock's daughter, Ava, has already established herself as an authority figure in WWE programming. She's gained valuable experience. She's become comfortable in leadership roles. And reports have fueled discussions about her future beyond NXT. Now connect those dots. A vacant SmackDown General Manager position. A growing need for a permanent authority figure. A family that already possesses enormous influence within WWE. Suddenly, this doesn't feel impossible anymore. In fact, it starts looking surprisingly logical. But there's another layer most people aren't talking about. Gunther. Because Gunther may be the single biggest reason this theory has gained traction. Think about everything that's happened. Authority figures have struggled to control him. Rules haven't slowed him down. Consequences haven't changed his behavior. He's become one of the most intimidating forces on the roster. So what happens when someone with even greater authority arrives? What happens when the person sitting behind that desk isn't just another general manager? What happens when they're backed by one of the most powerful families in WWE history? That's where things become explosive. Suddenly, every confrontation means more. Every punishment carries more weight. Every act of defiance becomes personal. And if Gunther continues pushing boundaries, the conflict could evolve from a simple rivalry into a full-scale power war. That's exactly the kind of story WWE loves to tell. Not just wrestler versus wrestler. Power versus power. Authority versus rebellion. Control versus chaos. And right now, Gunther sits at the center of all of it. Now let's talk predictions. Prediction number 1. Ava is eventually appointed as the permanent SmackDown General Manager. WWE uses her leadership role to continue building tension between management and Gunther while creating a fresh authority dynamic on Friday nights. Prediction number 2. The Rock appears on SmackDown as a temporary authority figure. His appearance instantly changes the atmosphere, creates massive mainstream attention, and directly impacts Gunther's road to SummerSlam. Prediction number 3. The boldest possibility of them all. The Rock himself is officially appointed acting SmackDown General Manager by TKO, not as a short cameo, not as a one-night appearance, as an active authority figure whose presence reshapes multiple storylines heading into the biggest events of the year. Would it be controversial? Absolutely. Would it dominate headlines? Without question. And that's exactly why WWE might consider it. Because whether fans love him or hate him, The Rock has a unique ability to make every story feel important. And right now, SmackDown desperately needs someone capable of filling the vacuum left behind by Nick Aldis. At the heart of this entire theory is one simple truth. Adam Pearce feels temporary. Nick Aldis feels destined for competition. And SmackDown feels like it's waiting for something. Or someone. The pieces are on the board. The vacancy exists. The timing makes sense. Now all that's left is finding out whether WWE and TKO are actually willing to pull the trigger. If they do, SmackDown may never look the same again. So what do you think? Should The Rock become the new SmackDown General Manager? Should Ava take over the role? Or should WWE go in a completely different direction? Drop your predictions in the comments below. Subscribe to the Ringside Report, and I'll see you at Ringside.